Dice Camera Action, a D&D show. The best D&D show.
Hey-o.
Yeah.
Hey.
We are down. Our fourth prettiest regular member is out today.
We know that's a lie.
Nate is busy with other things, touring, all that business, whatnot. But we have a super duper guest star.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's just burning Teldrassil. Burn it!
Burn it to the ground. But we have Scott Kurtz joining us. Thank you, my man.
Oh, thanks for asking me, man. I'm excited
great.
to play Binwin again.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So, to catch people up, a quick recap. Previously in Dice Camera Action, the characters had been settling into their manor, which they've dubbed the Waffle House, in the heart of Waterdeep, and have had a few incidents that have forced renovations, or destroyed renovations, as the case may be. But the place has endured a fair amount of hardship lately. Most recently, during the Festival of Trolltide, the Xanathar, the Beholder crime lord of Waterdeep, launched a major assault to avenge the wrongs inflicted upon it by the Waffle crew in the past, namely the murder of several members of the Xanathar Guild, including a prominent mind flayer. That attack was nixed. The Waffle crew successfully defended their homestead, driving the enemy back into the sewers from which they had emerged. Sister Narai, a Zentarum agent, assisted in the defense of the Waffle House and was duly concerned that given the Xanathar's nature and the brutality of these attacks, that perhaps the Waffle House was not the best place for a group of children, whom the Waffle crew had kind of inherited after these street urchins helped rescue their pet owlbear, who had been kidnapped.
I want a pet owlbear.
Yeah, me too.
You can have one if you go through a
Stick
lot of emotional
around.
trauma.
You don't want the rest of the show. But the owlbear part, it's pretty good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So Sister Narai has left. She took the corpse of a street urchin named Tulip away with her. The rain has abated. You have slept through the rest of that night, and the three of you are up and about the following day. There is, as you recall, in what used to be the tap room, there is a gaping hole now, open to the carved out earthen basement below. And it's full of dead bodies and burnt corpses, and a beholder piñata on the end of a 10-foot pole, through which the Xanathar was speaking magically. All of that is still lying in the wreckage in the main room of your house.
Well, immediately start picking up those bodies, because that's just a natural reaction for her. So you just see her take her staff with the point and just use the point to just kind of roll them out the door. And
So
she's like,
you're just pushing these corpses out into the street?
yeah, she's like, don't worry, the collectors will get them when it gets dark. It's fine.
Is that how that works here?
I feel like Dieth has explained to her many times.
They will
That's
certainly.
not-
The Waterdeep is a very clean city, relatively speaking, and they will do a lot of cleanup. But rest assured, if you start just dropping corpses out on your front lawn, the City Watch is likely to investigate before anybody shows up to clean them up.
If Diaz has explained this to her multiple times, then I bet Evelyn has a habit of your mom does the Easter Bunny or something. Like Strix is like, the collectors will take them, and Evelyn waits till she's gone and then picks them up for her and takes them to the morgue.
So as she pushes them out, it's like a fireman's train. Evelyn takes it back inside through the back.
It's
Or
yeah.
wherever you would actually take a body, like if there's a mortuary or something.
Right.
flips
She's
them
just
over
like,
there
wow.
real fast. Yeah.
There's so many. There's a lot of collectors in Waterdeep. They
It's-
must get good jink for this body. Is what
It's
right?
certainly
Dan?
not convenient if you are looking to dispose of all these charred corpses without catching too much attention. You have a basically disintegrated tunnel all the way down to the sewers that are
Oh.
under the city. You could drag them down there and essentially just let them flow away.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So as Strix is trying to like put out the first body, like I'm sure one of the party members who isn't broken will tell her that there's that.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah,
Would
you don't want to pile bodies up outside if there's a HOA.
Strix doesn't
Right.
know.
Better to
We've already angered the neighborhood enough.
better to contaminate the whole water table of the city.
Yeah, that's fine.
Drop a
is
bunch of
that something Evelyn would have a problem with?
What,
You
pushing
know,
them?
like putting the dead in the sewer? I mean, these were bad guys, right?
We killed a mind flayer and several undead beholders in the sewers. I'm pretty sure there's far worse things being put into the water than a couple of dead bodies.
It's not the water quality she's concerned about. It's the souls of the dead.
Oh, yeah. You
You
don't
can pray over them while I shove them in the water.
Okay, Evelyn does a ceremony in the
As
sewer.
Strix is just
and,
pushing
and
them.
honestly, Evelyn, these are like these are bugbears and moldy old undead beholder corpses and things like that. So
See,
She
Evelyn
still
doesn't-
does that. Consecrate these to your holy purpose, morning Lord, and may they be born in a new dawn of less evil being. Amen.
Sploosh.
all
Gia
right.
sits by the entrance on a stool with a cup of black coffee, just
Okay, so after cleaning out the basement of all the crap, and you've also got some broken shelves and other things that were destroyed when Strix's fireballs went off and whatnot. You get rid of all your garbage, you sort of clean it out. You realize you've still got this tunnel leading down to the sewers that's open. I don't know if you plan to keep it open for the time being or what.
I may revisit this.
Okay, fair enough. And then over the next day or two, it dawns on you that obviously the tap room cannot have this big giant gaping hole with the basement exposed. So you might want to maybe tap some craftsmen from the Carpenters, Roofers, and Plasterers Guild and
I'm
have
going to
them.
use my sending stone to contact Magnus
Okay.
and just be like, hey, we're thinking about having some things done. Do you know a guy around here that you trust discreetly?
Never mind, the house is fine. Just thinking about having some things done.
Yeah.
From the background here, there's a hole. It's big.
So Magnus can easily tell you that within Waterdeep, the guilds basically control everything. If you're a professional, you're probably a member of the corresponding guild to which your profession is attached. And they have standards that they all have to basically meet. He can definitely give you the name of a carpenter or a series of carpenters who are members of the Carpenters, Roofers, and Plasterers Guild, and they can come by.
Great, I'll do that, and I'll ask for one who does jobs, no questions asked.
Okay. And so you hook that up, and you are visited by a group of guild members, one of whom is a dwarf named Delvin Greyhill. And he seems to be like the money man, basically sets up the contracts and gets things underway. And he did come recommended. But
Money.
when Delvin realizes it's you, DF, his manner changes. And he becomes, well, let's put it this way. He doesn't really commit to dates and suddenly starts to give you this rigmarole about having other projects on the slate, and it might be a few weeks or months before they can actually assign anybody to do the work. And you get the feeling that the price he's quoting you is probably high.
Is this because he's a dwarf? Is he mad?
That's racist.
I can just do
Well,
it
he
myself.
killed a lot.
Yeah. You don't need to hire anyone. I'm way into DIY right
Yeah.
now. I've been, what do you call Pinterest boards in fantasy?
Fantasy Pinterest.
And then,
Okay, I've been checking fantasy Pinterest.
and then after sort of meeting with him, and after he leaves, over the next day or two, it becomes aware to you that Delvin's influence in the guild is such that you do have a kind of a hard time navigating at that point, getting a commitment from anybody.
Damn it.
Can Evelyn roll for DIY and try to do it herself?
Wait, Evelyn, you should go talk to them. Everyone loves you.
Okay. I love you too.
I didn't say that, but I mean, I do love you. I love you, my friend. Please help us fix the hole in the floor.
Okay, Evelyn goes to
Strix
talk to them.
just suddenly regrets saying that. Like,
You've also got the turret that's missing its roof.
that's not as big of a concern. It's a nice view of the stars at night.
The water damage that was caused by the rainstorm is extensive.
I hate this.
It's always something. You get a house, you're all excited, and there's always something.
Always.
Welcome to
something, let me
real world
tell ya.
problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously.
okay.
This stop being a
As a new
fantasy game.
homeowner, seriously.
All right. Evelyn, you go ask them to fix this stuff. You.
Evelyn just polishes up that Cha modifier. She goes and addresses the guild. Is there like a building?
Yeah, there is a guild headquarters that you can go to.
She walks in.
Yep.
Blessings of the morning Lord upon you, my friend. I'm here on a matter of some importance, as my house has water damage.
Okay. And what is it that you want from them?
Well, see, we have a lot of y'all over to the house, and it seems like there's some problem with getting some repairs done, and I just was curious if there's anything I could do to kind of just convince you to maybe be, fair in your pricing and, do your jobs.
Okay. You can go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Sweet. A do your jobs persuasion check.
Yep.
I think sorry, I'm at a not my computer, so things are a little bit slow today. Persuasion. Oh my gosh. Yes, I thought so. +9 to persuasion for Evelyn.
Okay.
24.
Ooh, that's really good. Okay, they are struck by you in all the ways that you would expect them to be, and they tell you that they will push off other projects and get on this as quickly as possible. And
Well, bless your heart, isn't that sweet?
they show you their standard rates sheet, and you look at it, and it is marginally less than what you were quoted. So that's good news too.
I'm sure Paulton will have no problem with that price.
And given the size of the project, and the fact that your house is a historic location,
Oh, yes.
they will further reduce the price. And so
That's so kind.
the repair work that they're aiming to do, you think, is going to cost you in the neighborhood of total of 50 gold pieces.
I'm sure that our bard will have no problem paying that off from his recent tour.
Yeah, and that's down from almost just over 200, so good job.
Well, thank you. I'm just so pleased, and may the morning Lord shine upon you for your generosity.
While Evelyn is away, Diath and Strix, there is somebody who sort of comes in to the place. Maybe they knocked and it just wasn't loud enough, or maybe they thought because the door was kind of half hanging off its hinges, they could just walk in. But you see a man, middle-aged, tall, and dressed in an overcoat. And he's got a letter in his hand. And he looks for a place to put it down, and there's nothing. All the furniture has been destroyed and wrecked.
Just anywhere's fine. Just anywhere. Just
Yeah,
we'll find
he
it.
sort of tucks it into a crack in the wall, and then he leaves.
I'll get it.
Strix is too scared to touch it. Did he look official business?
I can't tell. It's probably just some
Looks like a
some other
courier or
association
somebody.
saying we owe a fee or.
Yeah, that's definitely the HOA.
Yeah, it's probably a bill, and as soon as I read it, that means we have to pay it. Dieth takes the letter.
All right, it's just folded, so you can kind of unfold it and take a look
Yeah.
at it. And as soon as you see the first words, you realize exactly what it is. First words are "Dear neighbors."
Ah,
Dieth just stops right there. Okay.
Strix is peeking over his shoulder,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to read it.
Since your arrival, we, as residents and shop owners of Troll Skull Alley, have observed a marked increase in criminal activity and unwelcome disturbances. Having lodged formal complaints with the City Watch, we have since been informed that you are adventurers, and that being so, we should be grateful for the assistance you have rendered to our city, particular with regard to the matter concerning the trash monsters. Be that as it may, we are gravely concerned that your activities and associations might lead to further unrest and violence in Troll Skull Alley, the likes of which might be typical fare for Luskin or Baldur's Gate, but not Waterdeep. Should the explosions, wanton spellcasting, and screaming persist,
I do that in my sleep.
we are prepared to elevate our concerns to a sympathetic magistrate. Sincerely, the Neighborhood Watch of Troll Skull Alley.
Oh, elevator concerns. Oh.
You have been served.
And underneath this letter, you can see names and signatures from various people, like about 30 different people.
30?
It just sort of keeps unfolding, you know?
Do we recognize any of the names specifically? Like, is there anyone that we're like, that lady, I've heard from her?
One of the names you recognize is Emic Froon. He's the owner of a small pub called Froon's Brews that opened recently. Another one you recognize is Rishal. She's a dragonborn who owns the Bookworm's Treasure, a small library on your block.
Oh, I've definitely been there. She probably hates me.
Yeah, and there are other shop owners whose names you have passing familiarity with.
Well, we'll just know which shops to frequent in the future.
Yep.
I'm not there. I don't say that. That would be too petty for Evelyn. But
And, as you digest this letter, Strix and Diath, a shadow falls upon you.
Like an emotional one or like a physical one?
A physical shadow of a figure standing, darkening your door. And as you turn, you see the silhouette of a portly dwarf wearing a helm that's missing one of its horns and might have, arrows and bits of glass stuck in it. I don't know. And but yeah, definitely dwarven stature and just very rotund.
Dieth immediately holding the paper, just like, yes, we just got the message. We are very sorry. We take all your concerns very seriously. We are aware of the situation and we're trying our best to rectify it. Please be patient.
As he says that, Strix turns into rats behind him.
Binwin, as you walk into this place that kind of looked like a tavern on the outside, you were a little concerned because it looked like the windows got smashed out, but that's your kind of tavern, so whatever. You poked your head in, you see this kind of svelte young man holding onto a very large letter, and a witch, for lack of a better term, a tiefling dressed all in black with a pointy hat, who suddenly before your eyes turns into a mass of rats that fall around this young man's feet.
And I came in thinking this was a tavern?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
When you look around, you see that it definitely has the aspect of a tavern inside. This used to be a tap room, but some titanic blast or something has blown up the floor, destroyed the bar, leveled most of the furniture, caused a hole in the ceiling, blackened the rafters, and pretty much destroyed anything bottle-sized that used to be here.
Weensy little explosion.
Maybe like 4 of large explosions.
Yeah, there
least down
definitely
here.
multiple explosions.
In the top and the bottom and the basement.
Binwin says, yeah, that's good to know. I don't know what you're talking about. What I do know is I've got a massive hangover. I heard this was a Waffle House, and I'm looking for some eggs and some smothered hash browns to nurse this hangover. So you could just point me to the counter. I'd love to get a little hair of the dog that bit me.
Strix is like, our first customer! And she like turns back into Strix, like next to him, but like is kind of half rats, and she's just like, do you want a pie?
Yeah, I'll take a pie. What kind of pie?
I could put eggs in it. That's
Let's do it.
Ah!
I've
Well,
been
you
told
see-
by a friend of mine that's known as a quiche.
Oh, she's like never heard this word. She's like, whoa. You see her like, I
He's half
imagine.
elven, he's into quiche.
Yeah, I imagine as this happens, like you see her run outside and you hear like a from like a neighbor's place. And you see her like run back in with like 4 eggs and she's like, oh, I have eggs. And then like goes into the kitchen and you just start hearing like explosions and flour fly out. And now you guys are alone. She's just.
All right. I guess we are a restaurant now. And, Diaz just kind of sees how excited she is to actually do this and make the pie for a quote customer, and he's not going to want to ruin that. So he'll look at Binwin and just kind of, it's like, yeah, go ahead and take a seat at the.
You see there's like a bit of floor around the edge of the room. It's all sort of jagged and charred, and then just gaping pit.
So there's literally no place to sit.
Well, actually, when you look past the blackened fireplace, you can see that there are alcoves that have sort of intact furniture still in them. So if you kind of skirt along the wall, you can actually get to one of these alcoves and find a place to, quote unquote, plant your butt.
Okay. I scoot past the thing, look over at Jared. I'm like, remodeling?
Wait, didn't the straw chair survive?
The straw chair did survive. Yeah,
Great.
there's this big sort
Oh.
of Gothic chair in one corner of the room, just kind of sitting by itself.
Oh, I definitely sit in that.
Okay. While you're sitting down, you can hear upstairs, or you can hear the floorboards above your head groan and creak, and you hear what sounds like a monster pouncing around directly over your head.
But like playfully pouncing?
Yeah, like owlbear running around kind of thing. You also hear screaming children, and you're like, is that good screaming or bad screaming? And just make
Never can tell with
make
children.
an insight or a perception check, Scott.
I can do that. Where's my... Wow. +5. All right, here we go. Ooh, 18 + 5.
Great. You hear it's the playful kind of screaming. Like maybe there's a monster up there with kids, but the kids don't seem to mind.
You probably can clearly shows that he hears this. So Diaz is just like, oh, that's don't worry, that's just our pet owlbear and a couple of children we are currently fostering for their safety. Diaz looks around for a little bit. They are very safe.
Upstairs with an owlbear? Is it tame?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes.
Wow.
Her name is Waffles.
Appropriate.
Oh yes, here in our exploded house, upstairs with our owlbear. These children are so safe.
All
You
right.
did catch us in between some remodeling, but we have people on the way, which is very exciting. So come back sometime when things are nicer.
As they say, got a demo to reno.
Definitely
Evil-
never said that.
Strix like will run in with her pie. It's
Yeah.
probably done at this point, and she just like brings it to you. And it actually, like, should I roll to see if it's good or is it good? I mean, it's like she's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think you have to roll to see if your pie is edible.
Okay.
As long as and you do have all the ingredients and stuff. So yeah, but it's going to take you like maybe 20, 25 minutes to actually cook it in your brick oven and that kind of thing. So in the interim, Binwin is just sort of sitting in this big giant chair parked next to this table and just kind of looking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sort of sitting.
I kind of look around and I said, this is a very odd Waffle House. Is this a franchise? I've never seen one like this.
Oh no, it's not a franchise at all. We don't really. We mostly live here, and it's kind of a new venture. Sorry, my name is Diaz, and this is Strix. We just
Hello.
live here for the most part.
Yeah. Cool. I'm Binwin, but you knew that, right? They don't seem to know me.
That is a great question. So Diaz, make a history check. Strix,
Yeah.
you don't have to, because when he says the name, it trips something up in your noggin that
Somewhere in there.
you've seen pictures of this dwarf plastered all over things having to do with Acquisitions Inc.
Oh, yeah.
His face was on the side of the battle balloon that you
That's right.
ran around in.
His face is on it?
Oh yeah.
Never mind. I rolled a 9 on history.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't ring a bell to you, DF.
Right.
Well,
Am I still gone at the guild place?
So while Binwin is waiting for the pie, and Strix is having her eureka moment of recognizing who he is, probably while she's like standing in front of the brick oven just waiting for the pie to be done.
as she does.
As she does. That's when you walk in, Evelyn, and you see that Dieth is in the middle of a casual conversation with what appears to be a dwarf sitting in Paulton's chair.
Oh.
Which
And I rolled
DF knows is Paulton's chair,
Of
but
course.
he's still just like...
Right.
I rolled a 14 on history. Do I know who Binwin is?
No.
Okay. I walk in and just like coyly stand next to Diaz, and I'm like, "Who is this charming new friend sitting in Paulton's chair?"
DF says, oh, he just came in. He's looking for something to eat, and Strix happily provided. This is Binwin. Binwin, Evelyn.
Very nice to meet you. She offers a hand to shake.
I shake your hand and I say, I'm Binwin Bronzebottom of the Jeez, wow.
I know sometimes people get flabbergasted around me, but don't worry, I'm real nice. I promise.
I'm your visage. Yeah.
You're tripping over this this sort of beautiful cherubic young woman with
You're Binwin, it's nice to meet me.
with blonde locks. She's dwarf height, or maybe a little bit taller, but basically dwarf height, but slender, but is heaving around some mighty big weapons for a gal her size.
And wearing flying boots, she doesn't touch the floor.
Right. Yes. So
Really,
Yeah.
what kind of weapons? Because
Oh God, there's a lot.
she's got a great sword, and she's got a big axe, like a great
And
axe.
a couple javelins, and what else? I mean, I don't use all of it, but I think I've got. I guess that's it now. I've lost everything else.
But her axe is about as tall as she is, yeah.
Yep.
I think Binwin is immediately.
Smote.
Yeah, he's just got a huge crush.
I like your hat.
You want it? You want it?
Sure.
You want it?
Thanks.
I give her my helmet.
Okay.
Puts it on her
Yeah,
leg.
so you got this
God.
one horned dwarven helmet that kind of plops down on your head.
And it
actually-
like is a little low over her eyes like
Yeah,
this, and she's like
a little bit, and it's got a bit of a what do you, like a nose guard kind of thing that sticks down. So it yeah, it's fun.
Look, I'm Binwin Bronzebottom. What
I
do
guess
you do, Binwin Bronzebottom? What do I do if I'm you?
Well, let's see. I killed a Tarrasque about 6 blocks over a couple years ago.
When he
You're
says that, suddenly Dieth and Evelyn, you both remember that at one point a gigantic statue kind of went berserk in the lower parts of Waterdeep and sort of stomped through the city and then proceeded to kaiju a big giant monster.
I'm sorry, you were what?
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
you?
Yeah, that was me. All right. look.
as he says that, like you Strix like run in. She's like, "Oh, he works for Omen, or he did, I think."
And that,
Yeah.
His face
big-
was on a balloon.
that big giant statue basically destroyed like 20 buildings, including an orphanage and a tavern. And
I mean, that wasn't my fault.
As soon as Strix says that he used to work for Omen, you actually see DF's face just kind of like immediately tense up a little bit, like a real sense of frustration is just building there, and he's having a hard time holding that back. Just
I recognize that face.
She's
I've had it myself.
like, "Here's your pie, sir. Please enjoy at this fine establishment. Would you like something to drink?" "Well, I'm sorry, we don't have anything to drink."
when she
walks
puts
away.
the quiche in front of you, it smells really good.
I eat the hell out of it. I'm nursing a big hangover.
Yeah.
And I
She
have
just
an
watches
iron
the whole
stomach,
time.
so- Yeah,
It's
Binwin
weird.
tries to eat it in one bite if he can.
Okay. Just stuffs the whole thing in.
I bet that's impressive.
Strix is like, he liked it.
Evelyn pats Strix on the back, like, you did that. Good job. It's our first customer.
She's so happy.
DS is just like, is there anything else you need, or will you be going?
I mean, I'd love another pie if you could make one.
Make it another pie. Let it stay. Tell us about the Trask.
Oh, the crap.
Strix, make him another pie.
Really? Do you want one?
I want one.
Nope, I've lost my appetite.
What? She's like hurt. She just shuffles off.
Did you say you used to work for Omen Drawn?
I did used to work for Omen Drawn, yes.
What's he like?
He's tough but fair.
Oh.
He's tough but fair. And he's strong-willed, and he's great with numbers, and
Pays for shit.
yeah, he pays for
Oh,
everything.
that's nice.
And he talks a lot.
He's good with numbers,
Loves
but
words.
like, words are nice. I like words too. He's good with numbers, but how is he with like matters of the heart? You know?
Well, I've always suspected that Omen is very, very, very much loves matters of the heart, but he hides it very well behind a tough veneer.
Oh, I know how that is.
I know that he seemed upset when I killed his sister.
You killed his sister?
I'm sorry?
I did sense emotion that day. It came through.
Why did you do that?
She attacked us.
Oh, well, that'll happen, yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this.
She was the evil sister.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Just that
but-
one, I'm sure.
One time, I skimmed some money off the top of AC Inc.'s profits and spent it on two things that I won't discuss here because I don't know if it's safe for the stream. But he found out about it and he cried then too.
He cried?
He did. He did.
That's
cry.
real sensitive of him.
DS
He's very
tensions are actually
sensitive.
starting to ease up a little bit
Yeah.
after hearing these things. Just like, oh yeah?
Yeah, particularly when it comes to apparent Dieth, that the way he describes it, Binwin was probably somewhat of a thorn in Omen's side.
Oh yeah, definitely.
DS is actually laughing to himself.
Well, why don't you work for him anymore?
Well, we had a contract disagreement.
Mm.
There was an issue about branding.
Mm.
I got tired of Jim Dark Magic setting me on fire
Mm. Oh, he did?
many times.
Strix, don't you love Jim Dark Magic? Isn't he a friend of yours?
No, I hate him! Here from the kitchen. And I know better magic than him. It's true.
But I mostly left because I thought, for once, in my long, extended dwarven life, I would like to run my own shop. And so I got my own minions. And that has not worked out at all. At all.
But you know what? Good on you, because you're absolutely right. You should sit out on your own and do your own thing. No one really ever needs to ever follow Omen Drawn or listen to anything he ever says. So, good on you, Benjamin. I know we just met, but I'm proud of you.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't know if I'd agree to 100%. I think that I really appreciate the time I spent with Omen Drawn. But
Yeah, he's the worst. I know what you mean.
I hope he appreciates the time that I spent with him. Except those one times.
Another
Did Strix come in
dwarf.
with the pies?
Yeah, you come in with the pies, and just as you do, another dwarf
I got 3.
darkens your doorway.
Oh,
This
heck.
one appears
Is
to be
it Nasta?
no, appears to be an old woman, female dwarf, gray, long, braided hair. She's wearing old, ancient robes with like a big high collar, kind of containing her head. And she comes in and she sort of looks around at the devastation. And then she looks across the big gaping hole in the floor at you, Strix, while you're juggling your pies. And she says, "I'm Alcaria Stone Marrow."
We're closed.
That smells good, whatever it is.
Oh, I made
Where-
the extra one for Dieth, even though he didn't want it.
We can make another one. Strick, show me how. Come on in. Come on
Strix-
in. We
Strix
we,
is like-
we have tons more room. We'll stay open, right, Tia?
Sure.
I try to find her. I find her the remains of Chair Rickton. Is Chair Rickton around?
No, there's nothing left of Chair Rick.
Oh, okay.
But there are other chairs around. She'll pull out from one of her pockets a feather, cast a spell, and then the feather sort of goes poof, and she just sort of flies over the hole in the floor and lands
Oh.
safely on the other side.
Evelyn flutters her winged boots at her and is like, "I see you."
She says, I am a member of the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors. I understand that you have
Strix
had some
disappears
problems.
into the kitchen.
We have a what?
I understand you've had some problems, and I can see that there have been some incidents here. Perhaps the magical defenses on your place are not up to snuff.
Ooh, can you
I don't
help
think
us
we
with that?
had any magical defenses.
She gives you her card, which is a little stone sheet with her name carved into it and a glyph, a sigil on the back. And she says, you only need to break this and I will know that you want me. But if you do need my services, I cast glyphs of warding and other defensive abjuration magics upon buildings for their protection.
That is amazing. What kind of things can you ward off?
Anything.
Entire factions, perhaps?
Well, you could name, for instance, a particular kind of creature that you want to be to trigger a glyph, and then the glyph's
Beholders.
magic will take effect.
Is all of them an option?
Potentially, if you have enough money.
Finwin sneers from the corner and says, do you have a glyph for snake oil salesman?
I'm sorry. Did you say Manny? Because we have no Manny. Not when the bar's gone.
She sort of casts a baleful glare at you, Evelyn,
Oh.
but doesn't say
Look at her
anything.
accent.
Well, Strix has already handed off the pies to everyone, and she sees her looking balefully at Evelyn and knows she has magic. She's like, get it, it's pie. This one's my pie. And she she brings the pie over to Dieth, and she's like, this is for you, even though you didn't want one. And then she walks over to the mage lady, and she's just like, I am the resident magic person.
She looks you up and down and says, well, of course you are. And she says,
Smiles.
why don't you show me around? Maybe I can give you a recommendation.
For a recommendation for what?
For defensive magics of the abjurative kind.
Yeah.
I can't do that kind of magic.
Well, that's why I'm here, dear.
Strix, show her around. Show her
All right.
like the things in the basement. Maybe give her some multi-eyed recommendations, perhaps.
Right. All right, come on, lady.
She hears the ruckus above, by the way, and she says, this doesn't seem like a safe place for children.
Look, every family is different, and we have our child rearing methods, and you have yours, and that's fine.
I'll show her around, and Strix will be like, it's very safe. I've taught the owl bear to eat everyone that's not them.
All families are different. I want to make a book now called Johnny Has Two Owl Bears.
All right.
Look, maybe we're fostering these children who maybe have parents that just decided to stick around, and maybe they're in mortal danger all the time. But every family is different.
True.
Yes, and she as Strix leads her away, she sort of stops for a moment and turns back and says to Evelyn, I'm sorry, dearie, what was your name again?
Oh, me? I'm Evelyn Avalon Helping Martha. Pleased to meet you in the service of the morning lord.
And then she turns back and says, asks Strix to, maybe we could start with the kitchen, she says.
And Strix is like, all right, but I'm gonna warn you, I use green fire in the oven, and I hope that's not against code.
code. No, there's nothing like that. Don't worry about it. And she says, you can do no wrong.
Can I insight check this lady?
Sure.
When she said that, she's like,
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I was like, do no wrong. That's definitely something I've never been told before. Oh, that's an 18.
You think that she's being kind. You don't know exactly what she means, but you get the impression that she's not misleading you. And she says, we arcane spellcasters always do what we intend, even when we don't. Remember that.
Strix is like, what? Wait, no, I mean, I definitely don't intend, like, the hole in the floor was not intended. Just to point that out.
The floor needed rework anyway, right? It was falling apart.
She's so confused, like, wait, no, but I blew it up on accident.
No.
Magic, you have to be responsible.
She says, oh, well, yes, that's true, but this is all part of your plan.
What?
And she stands in the doorway and she says, oh, that's curious. And she looks at the doorframe, and you see for the first time carved into the doorframe is a tiny little glyph up high. She spots it, and you notice it. It's like, oh, that's interesting. She says,
Oh.
do you have unseen servants trapped in here?
I didn't know they were trapped.
If you scrape away that glyph, they won't be.
Oh. Do you think they're unhappy here?
Who cares?
Oh, I don't want them to be unhappy. I want them to stay here if they want to be
They're
here.
magical effects, dear. They don't care. Neither should you.
Well, I'm going to ask them.
They won't respond. And they sort of disappear into the kitchen together and have a wizard conversation. The kids come trundling, you hear them, come trundling down the outside steps, run around the side of the building, and then come crawling in through the windows. And suddenly, Binwin, you are in the company of 3 others. A small tiefling boy with an eye patch and a bow, little bow. A young girl, thin, black, long hair with a wooden sword, taller than the other 2, and a portly boy in wizard robes with a crooked wand and a stuffed owlbear tucked under his arm. They come stomping around, and then as soon as they they see you, they're like, they just sort of stop dead in their tracks, and their eyes get wide.
Dieth is just like, we're also part boarding house, I guess.
I don't know if Binwin likes kids or not. I've never thought about that before.
He's asking himself that for the first time now.
Yeah. No, that's what Binwin says out loud.
While he's stuffing the second pie in his mouth.
Yeah.
Do I like kids?
I don't know if I like kids. Come over here.
Oh, no.
Allow me to examine you.
Yeah.
Squidly, the tiefling boy, probably gives you the finger and runs away, but what do Nat and Jenks do?
Jenks just like, wow, you look like a big adventurer. Maybe he's heard stories of Binwin or something. I feel like Jenks.
Yeah, Jenks
learns
can see this dwarf has weapons on him and things like that,
Yeah.
so that seems to fit.
Wow, what's the biggest thing you've killed?
My own insecurity.
He's like,
And a Tarask.
oh, I like that. Insecurity's not so much. That's a little bit. This is my familiar. He like shakes the owl bear at him.
Papa, I'm working. What?
Unbutton the top button.
Yes, I'm so sorry, everyone. Dad. God.
See, this is what we're evaluating about,
Keep
like
going.
the relationship between parent and child.
Exactly.
Do you like kids?
He introduced me to D&D, so what am I going to do?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Here we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, regardless of how Binwin feels, Jenks is thrilled to meet Binwin. So Jenks,
That is-
small child, is just like, wow.
Right.
Nat is just like, I'm an adventurer too, but she says that in sign language, so I don't know if you notice or recognize it.
I'm sorry. He threw me off. What happened? The kids are doing what?
So
You're trying to decide whether or not you like children.
one of the kids is glommed onto you, and the young that'd be the wizard, the young girl with the sword is signing you.
If they're anything like old people, I don't like them. No, I like it. I definitely like the attention, so I love these kids. Especially the one that flipped me off. Okay, so she's signing me. Let me see if... Let me do an insight to see if maybe Binwin has learned sign language. He is a folk hero.
That's true.
Well, insight is +1, but I bet I can roll real good. 14.
Ooh.
You're able to pick up a lot of what
Couple
she
words.
says. Words here, words there.
She's just proudly signaling that she's an adventurer as well, and like you guys are on equal footing.
Okay, well, I make a point to go, oh, you're an adventurer. Well, as
You
well
look at
as
her
you have a
shitty
weapon.
wooden sword.
She holds it up proudly.
Oh, it's a little crappy sword.
Yeah.
It's a little wooden sword, yeah.
I look to make sure, like as if make sure no one's looking, and I pass her a dagger, a real.
Okay.
She takes it and she's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. You can see there's even like a little bit of blood encrusted in where the hilt meets the blade.
Keep
I'll
it
never
sharp.
wash it. She puts it in her belt.
Keep it sharp. Sharp knife is a safe knife.
Okay.
Okay.
But
Yes.
maybe be careful with that. Don't show the others.
Jakes is like, how come the lady who smells bad never gave me a magic thing? He looks at Nat like,
Maybe you should be a better adventurer.
Dieth quickly explains to Binwin. These children are key witnesses in an upcoming trial of a pretty important figure here in Waterdeep, and we're trying to keep them safe until then.
Well, no problem. Now I'll help you keep them safe.
Really?
Yes. I love these kids. I've decided. Binwin loves kids. I'm going to train that one to be a minion.
Me?
Yeah. If they die, they'll die working for me.
Oh,
No
well,
other way.
no. We're trying to keep them alive.
Well, I'll
just
keep
a
them
little
alive until they're trained, for sure, at least. But for now, we'll keep them alive.
All right, fine.
It makes sense, trust me.
Okay.
It's Dwarven logic. It makes sense if you're not sober, which is a real problem right now. Are you sure you don't have anything to drink?
You're looking around. There's just blasted remains of flagons and shattered bottles everywhere, but nothing.
Our stores were
exploded.
exploded. They were exploded. They were exploded. Beholders dug through the basement through a tunnel and just destroyed.
Oh, yeah, those are
Yeah.
a problem.
Yeah. Speaking of, Strix, how's that glyph coming?
Does she hear that in the kitchen? Or
Yeah, right now Alcoria is just sort of looking around. You're taking her kind of around your building establishment, out the back door, the kitchen door, and then sort of around the outside of the building, and she's pointing to windows and doors and all kinds of other things where you can have glyphs put on to basically ward the structure. And they can be anything from glyphs that deal damage to glyphs that cast fear spells and other effects that basically just drive enemies away from you. But then she tells you that the price that she charges per glyph is 300 gold,
Ah! Strix is like, maybe.
which is standard. But she will reduce her price to 250 each because she knew the previous owner of this building and has a tremendous amount of respect for her.
Oh, when she asked who owned this building before?
I did.
Ah! Well, why did you leave?
Because I got busy and had other things to do, and I have other property.
Homeowning is a big responsibility.
Strix is like impressed, and she's like, "Wow, so these are your unseen servants?"
Yes.
Oh. Is there anything weird hidden in this house that we haven't found yet?
Oh, probably.
What? I mean, Is it weird? Is it on a ley line? Like, what? Why is this place weird? Also, why? Just. It's scary.
Well, I created it myself. So it's me, in a way.
That's concerning. Could possibly, maybe, do you accept work? Maybe I could do some work for you to help you pay for these glyphs. Like, maybe, do you like pies? I could bake you some pies. I could tell you all about all the horrors we've seen. We met Asmodeus. Isn't that fun? You know who he is.
So, 250 gold for each glyph. That's a pretty good deal, dearie. And if I can certainly cast custom spells on these glyphs to trigger, to ward off particular threats if you know what they are. As for paying off the money, well, what can you do?
I can set things on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I can turn things into chickens. I can turn myself into rats. I can make my friends happy.
What if I were to, since you're obviously a good baker, what if I were to invest in a bakery? Would you be interested in running one?
She just is like fanning herself. She's like, yes, of course. I mean, that would be an excellent business venture.
This place has never been one before. Been a lot of things, but not a bakery. I think it could be quite lucrative.
Maybe could it be a magic bakery?
Yes, I see there's marketing potential there.
Like maybe a bakery plus a place with magic?
Yes, potentially.
I like this. Like Strix is like, I have purpose. But she's like, well, why would you do that? Why would you be nice? Like, you are like, why are you nice to me? I don't deserve this. No one needs to be. I'm just a trash person. Tiefling.
You are certainly not. Be good to yourself. That's the first rule of wizardry.
And baking.
Strix is still just like, why is this person being so nice to me? Like,
Can Evelyn sense that negotiation is going on in the other room?
You can hear them wandering around the outside of the building and having a conversation that raises in tenor loud enough that you can hear it at times.
All right, so I'm going to say that I heard something to the effect of like 250 gold, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Can Evelyn just poke her head outside and be like, are you sure it's going to be that expensive? And
I'm too old for your charms to have any effect on me, young one.
Oh, shucks.
And Strix is like, Evelyn, she used to own this house. She's smart.
Are there any secrets about it we should
She
know?
won't tell me. I think she wants us to find them out because it'll be funnier when we hurt ourselves.
Oh.
Or others.
Yes. But until you get up and started, I suggest that you take those kids somewhere safe.
Though I think we have a plan. Well, Dieth has a plan. I don't have a plan for them. I don't know. But
Oh,
all
that's
right.
rather strange, she says, looking over your shoulder.
What?
You can see that there are other people out on Troll Skull Alley because, it's the middle of the day and it's not pouring rain out. It's a nice late spring day. And you can see that people are sort of giving a wide berth to what looks like a moldy old coffin that is floating toward your establishment, held aloft by what appear to be 6 big spherical balloons. And you realize, actually, no, they're sort of these weird beholder-like spore fungi, these gas spores, some of which you encountered in the sewers. And they've got nets thrown over them and hooked to this coffin, so they're basically just sort of floating it in your direction.
All right. So yeah, the
You don't see
wizard
that
lady,
every day.
Yeah. See, that's a problem. We need glyphs against beholders. That's undead beholders in particular.
And that doesn't seem super normal.
Yeah, the rest of you kind of look out through the broken windows of this establishment, and you see this moldy old coffin and it's just encrusted with mold and mildew, being floated toward your mansion.
Oh, you guys got rid of dungeoneering as a skill, didn't you?
Nah.
Well, yeah, but you as a dwarf would have stone cunning and other certain skills.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. I guess that's not dungeoneering. Doesn't let you know about different monsters. I'm just
No,
curious.
that you would use nature for a lot of monsters, unless they were weird outer planar monsters. Then Arcana would probably be used instead.
Okay. I want to make a check to see if I know what the heck this thing is.
Yeah, go ahead and make a nature check.
That would be a 3. I
Okay.
have no clue what this is.
Yeah, at first it looked like that this thing was being carted by beholders, which you've seen pictures of, these big floating, these orbs that are tethered to it, these balloons, do look passingly like beholders. They're round, they're spherical, about 4 feet in diameter. They have these spore growths coming up the top of them that kind of look like eye stalks at first blush, and they have this sort of fake eye, central eye that kind of glares out emptily on their fronts. But it's clear that these are really just sort of fungal creatures bearing the weight of this floating coffin.
Is this a bomb? This is a bomb.
The way it's
always a bomb.
the way it's drifting toward you suggests that somebody must have gotten it up here somehow and sort of pushed it off in this direction. And it's just
Right.
kind of lazily drifting your way, and it's just kind of half turning back
We need
and
to keep
forth.
this thing away from the house. Like, Strix will look into the house and be like, there's a bad thing coming towards the house. Probably a bomb. Looks like it's beholdery. We have to stop it.
And you can see
Help!
some other people in the street are gazing at it curiously because they've never seen the like. But right now, at least, keeping a semi-distance.
Hi, oops, sorry, I'm in here now.
Hi there.
Excellent timing.
Just this voice. There's a.
Paul
Oops,
wakes
hey.
up.
Something about bros, I'm late.
There's totally no one sitting in your chair. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Paulton, so you come downstairs after a long night.
It's like, I'm assuming it's like late in the afternoon
Yes,
at this point.
it is late in the afternoon at this point, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And when you come down in the tap room, you see that there is somebody else sitting in Strahd's chair.
Paulton like walks in with drink in hand as he just
you see
woke
this,
up.
Ben, when you see this kind of disheveled human young man with like black hair sticking up weirdly.
He looks just as disheveled as I do right now. it's like,
I say, I'll pay you for that drink.
it's like, no one's got that kind of money, bud. I like, look, so is the rest of the party in here?
Yeah. Oh,
You like-
well, except for Strix. But you hear
Strix
her
is-
outside.
And she's
Okay.
yelling like, "Ah, the bomb coming! It's right now!" Just like the panic, the usual panic.
But Diet's in here? Yeah.
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 He like turns to DF and like points at the chairs, just like, who? TLDR.
Benwood Rosbottom acting bombs or something is coming to the house. We gotta stop it.
It is Tuesday.
So is Evelyn in this room with me?
Yes.
Evelyn was just kind of like sticking her head out the door, so she's like there, but was yelling at Strix and the lady.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but I don't like that's coming for us, and we need to get out of here. And if that thing stays in the streets, there's a good chance that everyone outside could also be hurt. We need to get everyone down below, through the tunnels, under the sewers. We can use that to
But
escape.
what about our house?
We'll come back for it.
Okay. Everyone in the tunnel! Let's go! Children in the tunnel! She starts like herding everybody.
So you're herding the children down into the sewers? Okay.
What? No! All we have to do is we just need a strong breeze. That thing's just floating. We can just push into someone else's house.
Paulton, when
Can't
you
do that
stick
to
your
someone
head,
else.
Paulton, when you stick your head out the window, you can see that in fact, in front of the house, floating lazily toward it, is a moldy old wooden coffin being held up by 6 gas spores. These big sort of spherical balloon-like fungus. That are sort
And
of,
and the net is draped over the spores and attached.
yeah,
to
each spore has a net draped over it to sort of keep it from floating off into the air. And
How
it's been
high up is
it's
it?
been secured to the coffin. And it looks like the coffin is floating maybe 3-4 feet off the ground, and these beholder-like spores are about 6 feet off the ground.
All right. If I'm gonna turn my staff into my broom and be like, I have an idea, and I'm gonna go take the nets off.
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing. If we
Okay.
get rid of the nets, maybe we
Yeah,
just
I
make
was
that
gonna-
thing harmlessly float to the sky.
Yeah. So Strix will turn her staff into a broom and also like look at Mage Lady and be like, "Hey, that was cool," and then get on her broom.
All right. You can see some of your neighbors who are kind of watching. As soon as your broom goes off and it sort of backfires and this big cloud of smoke erupts from its back end, a lot of the neighbors sort of look, and you can just see the expressions on their face, like, "Oh no, not again."
Well, that's
Everything's
Strix.
fine.
Let me
Everything's
just-
fine.
Strix is used to that expression, so really that's the expression that she always gets.
So
Walking
Strix
into
rockets
shops.
she's up in the air now? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, she's
Okay.
going towards to take the nets off of the spores.
What are the rest of you doing?
Binwin runs out, and if I can reach it, I'll try to cut the ropes holding the nets to the coffin with my axe.
That you can do. Anybody else?
Well, Diaz told Evelyn to take the children to the sewer, so she was like hurting everybody, and then she realized no one was behind her, so she's like, guess that's not the plan anymore. Come on, chillins! And she grabs them all, and she's leading the charge of the children. She's letting them come with her because she doesn't think this is a big threat.
All right, so Evelyn will pile out front with the children behind her. Anybody else?
Paulton is still just kind of like,
Your chair has been warmed now, by the way.
Sorry about that.
he like sits down, he's just like, it's warm.
Yeah.
It's oddly warm.
There are
It's
two
uncomfortably
empty
warm.
pie plates on the table next to the chair. A few crumbs, but that's it. Also some crumbs on the chair.
It's like, he like just kind of, great. It's like, it is uncomfortably warm. I have many questions on the temperature of this individual.
All right, Strix, Binwin. Binwin, you're going to go up with your axe. Strix, how are you planning to cut the ropes?
I have scissors in my robes.
Okay, so you sort of
I'll just-
fly up next to them and you just
Yeah,
start
with my-
chopping away with scissors. All right, the two of you are successful. Binwin, you slice through those ropes, no problem whatsoever. Strix, on the other side of the coffin, you cut the ropes away, and as soon as you do, exactly what you expect happens. The gas spores begin to fly up like untethered balloons, slowly, maybe gaining about a foot a second. So after about 10 seconds, they're about 10 feet higher than they were, but they are kind of drifting up and out of this wide alley.
Evelyn says to Strix
And of course,
or Diaz,
the coffin just sort of crashes down 3 feet onto the cobblestone street. And it sort of cracks and bulges. Its sides pop out a little bit like it was really, really rotten.
Ugh.
All right, Strix is
maybe
Evelyn,
it's got a present inside it.
No, it's it. Strix looks at Evelyn. She's like, Evelyn, can you do like some Lathander stuff to that? Coffins are used. It's maybe like blessed or undead, didn't it?
Certainly. Evelyn does divine sense on the coffin.
Okay, she does not detect any fiends, celestials, or undead in the coffin.
She doesn't sense any strong evil either. Doesn't she get that from divine sense?
That is true as well. Actually, I should qualify this. She does not detect. She does not detect any of those things or evil coming from the coffin. However, she does detect the presence of an evil fiend within her field.
Oh.
Oh no, it's that lady dwarf.
Oh, do I have a sense of how, where, who?
You start to kind of look around at all the faces of your neighbors who are staring at you, and of Alcoria Stonemarrow, the dwarf who claims to be the previous owner of your house. I'm just seeing how much you can pinpoint this. You know the location of. Okay. So as you scan around, your divine sense goes past Alcoria, past some other townsfolk that you've encountered frequently in this neighborhood, and focuses on a man who's talking to a young woman on the corner of a building. They're both looking in your general direction because this scene is obviously odd, but he is just sort of talking to her while watching you at the same time. And as soon as you bead in on him, he knows or senses that you are using this paladin ability to identify him.
You! You said evil fiend, right?
Yes.
Evelyn just toward him.
Evelyn goes darting off in a random direction.
Oh, I guess I have to look in the coffin. Well, that's typical.
Meanwhile, Paulton's still like trying to dig like a couple last crumbs out of the crevices, and he's just like, "Fucking goddamn guest characters coming in and messing everything up." God, can't have nice things.
Indeed.
Dieth will go and join Strix at examining the coffin.
Okay, and Binwin
And
is
we'll
there
figure out
as
what the hell
well.
Evelyn's doing.
Yeah.
The coffin looks like it's been nailed shut. The lid is all, like the rest of the coffin, rotty, and it wouldn't take much to rip the lid off.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right,
open
Strix
it.
will use her
All right.
staff.
Before as you get your staff underneath and you start to sort of pry it open like a crowbar, Binwin just sort of grabs onto one end of it and tears the whole lid off, and it just sort of splinters apart as he rips it off. And what you see inside is possibly the most disgusting thing you have ever seen in your life. There's so much sort of mold that's encrusted this old coffin. It looks like somebody dug it up years ago and just sort of let it rot in the sewers for a long period of time, probably where it was very warm and damp. So there is this sort of moldy flesh that sort of clings to the inside of it and kind of creates this soft, almost velvety interior, in which you can see the head and crossbow of Noska, the dwarf.
In the what?
You can see the crossbow that used to be affixed to the end of his arm is just sort of lying in this mucky mold next to his decapitated head.
Paulton leans out the window, and he's just like, "What's in the box?"
What's in the box? What's in the box?
There is also sticking out between the severed head and the crossbow, there is a shattered piece of stone that looks like it may have been a creature's torso before it was petrified. It's like a broken piece of a human being or somebody, basically the breast of this figure. And there is a symbol in the stone, like maybe this creature was wearing some sort of talisman or amulet or something that got turned to stone along with it. And it is the symbol of Lathander.
Good thing Evelyn doesn't see any of this because
Yeah.
she would be very upset.
Yeah,
And
Strix,
next to it is a petrified hand, possibly from the same person, a human hand, looks like an old man's hand, and there is a scroll tube, not petrified, in it.
Oh, fuck.
We evict him and suddenly he's moldy dead guy in a coffin? Like,
yeah, Strix is starting to get a little worried about the Lathander stuff and start and like make sure that Evelyn is like kind of gonna attack the fiend and sees Dieth covering his mouth right now because it's really like, oh well, I don't know what you're doing. Takes the scroll out and reads it.
All right.
Paulton sees all this, like, all these reactions. I'm just like, all right, I'll just go out there then. I'll just walk over.
Okay.
So I see Noska's head.
Yeah, so you peer down into this rotted coffin and can see Noska's head. And as you gaze upon it, it starts to bulge and boil, and you can see that it pops open in 2 or 3 places, and these spores start to shoot out of the holes in his face.
Can I just close the coffin?
The lid has been shattered, so it's been torn off
cool.
completely. So I'd like everybody to roll initiative.
Cool.
Oh, what does the letter say?
Like right before that happened, though, when Paulton sees a head, he's just like, "Oh!" For the record, this was not me.
So
I have a really strong, sneaky suspicion, but I'm too afraid to say.
I
Strix?
do too.
Chris, did we take a long rest since last time?
we did.
Cool.
Yes.
You took an extra long rest
You
because you
did.
didn't get up till the afternoon.
Strix, what was your initiative?
It was 21, yeah.
21. Diath.
So I rolled 20.
Frickin' 9.
Evelyn.
14.
Paulton.
First roll back, and that would be a nat 1.
Okay.
So, 5.
5. And Binwin.
23.
23. And the Fiend. All right. So all of you around the coffin saw Evelyn go charging toward a man standing on a corner who looks like maybe he's one of your neighbors, or maybe he's just coming through. You haven't really seen him before. He looks well dressed. Got dark hair swept back from his forehead, a mustache and a Van Dyke beard, and a nice overcoat with his ruffled shirt billowing out from underneath. And he looks surprised as Evelyn careens toward him. But before that happens, Binwin, you see these fungal spores erupt from the severed dwarf head, glaring
Yes.
up at you. And as they sort of rise up out of the coffin, these spores just sort of go and kind of inflate into these baseball-sized gas spores.
Oh, fun.
Okay. So are they're like floating up at me?
Yeah, they're like these baseball-sized spores floating up at each of you. And there are 5 of them. They don't look like they look very small and non-threatening in a way, but spores.
I hate to bring this up, but if the children followed Evelyn outside, are they
They're probably,
nearby?
since she took off after the Fiend, they are nearby the coffin and the others, but no longer near Evelyn.
Okay, just checking.
But Binwin, it's your initiative. What do you do?
My fear is if I swing at these spores and
You get a face full of fungus or something?
yeah, I'm in a face full of poison, and although I have a resistance to poison, there's no need to risk everyone. I was trying to think of a way that I had a way to, if there was a way to contain them. Can I try to use? Do I have? Wondering if I have a small sack in my. Well, I have the phrasing. I wonder if I have a small bag or something that I can use.
You got Chris.
Yeah, you probably have a sack. And
Yeah.
You could probably take it and use it to try to scoop up one or more of them.
Yeah, I want to try to do that.
All right, I'm going to have you make an attack roll with an improvised weapon. Fortunately, these things are really easy to hit.
Okay.
So all you have to do is roll a d20 and add your, in this case, I'll let you use your strength bonus. Just add your strength bonus to the d20 roll.
Well, that's great. So that would be a total of 6 because I rolled a 2.
Wow. Okay, so your improvised bagging skills, not so great. But these things have an armor class of 5, so congratulations.
Oh,
That's
thank
good
God.
enough. That is good enough. And just roll for me, if you will, a d4 or a d4 simulator.
You got it. 2.
You scoop up
two's a
two. You
special
scoop
number
up
for me
2 of
tonight.
them immediately,
Okay, good.
and so you know you've got those 2 in the bag. There are 3 more drifting up out of the coffin,
Good.
Okay.
and that's your action. You can still move if you want to.
I'll stay close
Okay.
just in case I can bag some more.
Yeah, you can use the same bag to try to scoop some more on your next turn if there are any left.
Yeah.
And then Strix.
Oh, I don't know what to do with these. I'm feeling real panicky about this
Oh,
spores.
Coria shouts, "Those are gas spores." If you break them, they'll explode.
Ah!
Cool.
What should I do?
Don't break them.
Can you gently blow them away with wind? You don't do that.
I can, you know what? I'll just,
Use your hat.
oh, my hat! All right, that's a good idea. I'll take my hat and just, try and, like, blow them up like this.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Spend it all.
I know. It's like, put them in your hat, and you're like,
Yeah, she's like panting, and she's like, no, I don't know.
all right. So you can do that to one of them and just sort of blow it up into the air.
Okay, I'm like,
And so that's your action. And so now
I don't doing this.
there are two sort of hovering over the coffin now that Strix has kind of sent one up into the air, and Bidwin's bagged the other two. What does Jenks do, Holly?
Oh man,
Wizard boy.
I mean, he would cast a spell.
Mm-hmm.
He would possibly cast I don't know, wind something.
Gust of wind.
Gust of wind, yeah. Gust of wind!
All right.
And it's just him going.
Yeah, he is. He's going.
Yes. So this little wizard boy waves his magic wand, incants some gust of wind spell, points the wand at one of the creatures, and then just starts going
yeah.
with no effect.
Yeah.
But in your mind, Jenks, you can see that this creature is just fighting against the torrent of air that you are blasting out in its direction, and it is
I'm
only
sure.
by virtue of some great beholder magic that it is not repelled.
No, I'll thwart you, evil!
And next up is the fiend, who sees Evelyn closing in on him. And he's just like, as you race toward him. He looks surprised by the aggression. And he will cast a spell, Evelyn, and I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
My pleasure.
Would I be able to counterspell this?
Potentially.
All right. Well, I guess Paulton could as well if you felt like it.
Could I?
Yeah.
Potentially, if you so wished.
I rolled a 6, so someone better counterspell the heck out of it.
I feel like Paulton might be more apt to see that than Strix, who is
Yeah,
frantically
probably.
waving her
That's
hat
true.
around.
Strix is probably
Yeah,
very...
if I can, I'll counterspell it.
Okay, it's not going to be... I don't think it's an automatic one because it's too high level a spell. But...
What if the counterspell is at 5th level?
If the counterspell is at 5th level, then yes.
Huh. How about that? if it's allowed.
Yeah, if you want to use your 5th level slot, you can totally do that, and you counterspell his magic. So Evelyn, before he can do anything, it's sort of poof, that's it. Nope, no spell for you.
Oh, I got called out on not using my aura. Yes, that should have been +5. Sorry.
All right, well, it still would have failed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Still
okay.
failed. Suck it, chat.
Yeah. So he will...
Even with your help, we suck.
He will stand his ground and kind of protectively kind of move the young woman next to him aside so that she is not caught in any weird blast area by whatever it is you plan to do next. And he shouts out after the spell is counterspelled, there are laws in this city.
Thanks, Paulton. Also, you're an evil fiend. I love when things are black and white. Get prepared to be
And that brings us to Evelyn.
As I said, prepare to be smoked. And she brings the Hearth Spinelli down to bear on the fiend.
Okay.
And I'm using digital dice, so give me a second. So that's D12 plus 8. Yep. That's a dirty 20.
That's a hit.
Sweet. And the damage And now that I have improved Divine Smite, don't I get an automatic extra D8 to all my damage?
Mhm.
Sick.
Nice.
Yeah, Evelyn's a bamf these days. Uh, 15.
All right. You deal 15 points of damage to him. He is still standing. He seems to have a lot more substance to him than just the skinny rail of a man he appears to be.
Okay, so this time she swings again with the Heart of Spinelli with the intention of using Divine Smite.
Okay.
Oh, but she rolls a nat 1 for a total of 9.
That one's always a miss.
Aww.
Okay. Yeah, so you whacked him good once, though. The other thing you notice is that he doesn't seem to be showing any visible sign of the wound, although he's clearly laboring under the wound. That suggests to you that his true form is being masked by some sort of spell or magic.
I see through your facade, fiend.
Yep. And you can see blood fall on the cobbles, so you do know that you wounded him. And Nat, what does Nat do?
Nat brandishes her sword and goes to stand next to Dia
Okay,
and waits for instruction.
very good. Then we drop to Diath.
She's holding action until Dia tells her to attack, is specifically mechanically what she's doing.
Okay.
Does Nat wear a cape or anything similar?
She's got basically a cape draped over her shoulders, yeah.
Perfect.
She normally has it thrown over one shoulder because it looks cooler, but
She's an adventurer.
yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as she gets next to Diaz just looks down at her and then like quickly reaches a hand over to very deftly unclasp the cape and like just pull it off of her.
Okay.
And use that and like grab like both ends with his hands and, to make like a bag and try to like follow Binwin's lead and like scoop up some more of these spores.
All right, go ahead.
Nat
and
acts like that was her plan all along. Like, yes, I was decided. You knew to take that.
Yeah. And and as you sort of pull it up over her head, her hair sort of flops into her face and just sort of blows it off. And you can make a improvised weapon attack, so it's adding your strength bonus, or I'll let you add your dexterity bonus.
Yay!
To this d20 roll.
Okay. 14?
Okay, you are successful. Now roll a d4 to see how many you scoop up. There are only 2 left, so
Come on, baby. 4.
you bag the remaining 2 of them inside this cloak and kind of very deftly sort of tie it off so that they're in a satchel.
Okay, so now I've got 2, Binwin's got 2.
Yep. And Strix is setting the other one up into the air with its big brothers.
With her hat, right. Okay, so now we just gotta get rid of these? How do you get rid of a spore? He's asking to Binwin. He's like, that one!
I have an idea.
Oh no.
Okay, with that, Paulton, what do you do? Looks like the spore threat has been dealt with, at least for now.
Mm-hmm. But I see Evelyn like trying to
Laying into a man standing by a street corner, yeah.
if I were to walk over and try and do a persuasion check, would that count as my action?
That would kind of depend on what you're trying to do, but yeah, if you were trying to basically trying to change his demeanor or a course of action on his part, that would be an action.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna walk over to him and kind of like backing up Evelyn as she's like laid into this guy or whatever.
Right.
And I'm just like,
This fearsome presence coming up behind her.
it's like, buddy, you don't want none of this. That would be a big mistake on your part. So maybe you should just take it easy and why don't we just talk?
Okay.
Now I'd like to persuade him.
Go ahead.
Okay, so that would be a 28.
Isn't your plus to persuasion like 13 or something now?
Yeah, that's crazy. He says, I would love to talk. Let's talk.
It's like, good man. Or
Kill him.
What? He's like, oh, hold the horses there.
What does Squidly do?
God damn it. Squidly. So, Squidly's nearby.
Yeah. There's so Dieth has got 2 of these baseball-sized gas spores in a sack. Binwin's got 2 in a sack, and Strix is flapping at one with her hat.
He saw the spores, right?
He saw these spores come up out of the dead dwarf's head and turn into these baseball-sized orbs.
So Squidly sees the one that is not contained, that's being blown up, and he's just he's just like, don't worry, guys, I got this. He's gonna try and shoot an arrow at it.
Okay, make a d20 roll. Add nothing to it.
Low roll. 11.
Okay, yeah, you hit it and it explodes.
Oh, right in my face!
Damn it, Squidly! I didn't want to. Squidly did.
All right, Strix,
We need to get rid of these kids.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, and you're not near either.
Sorry. And of course, Squidly's like, direct hit!
Oh my god.
Yes, it was beautiful, Squidly. You've never seen anything so amazing in your life. You caused this creature literally to explode at the end of your arrow.
Whoa.
A dirty 20.
Okay, so as it explodes in your face and spore gas washes over you, you do have the wherewithal to sort of turn away, hold your breath, all the things.
My hat over my face.
Yeah, exactly. And you suffer no immediate effect.
Immediate effect.
Oh,
Immediate effect.
And the cloud, because it was high enough and you got it up high enough, doesn't quite reach anybody else. It comes very, very close to Jenks and Binwin.
Squidly's like already prepping his next arrow and like calls out. He's like, all right, guys, one down. I got this.
Strix just like, do I feel like this might cause problems later?
Make a nature check.
No one's going to yell at Squidly not to do that
That's
again.
Hold on, I did really well.
We're letting this
rolling
happen?
well.
Nate's like, please stop me.
That's another dirty 20.
Okay. You think that there could be that these spores may carry some kind of disease element that you may have prevented but with your saving throw, but maybe not.
Great. Okay, well, my anxiety raises like 10 levels, and I just look at Squidly, and I'm just like,
Dieth immediately looks over at him with his like cape of spores and just says, Squidly, no.
Squidly gives like a, okay.
Binwin, we're back to you.
I hope your idea isn't shooting them with arrows.
Do I think this thing is immune to its own spores?
With your earlier roll, you'd say yes.
All right, well, then just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Double axe to the face.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going
Wait.
to come at him with my hand axes.
Come at whom?
The fiend.
Ah, very good. All right, so are you still carrying around the bag of the 2 spores, just out of curiosity?
Oh, if I let them go, they'll float away, right?
Your bag is probably heavy enough and they're small enough that they're not likely to float away in the bag.
All right, then just tie off the bag and let it drop.
Okay, yeah, it just sort of sinks down to the ground and it's sort of like a balloon that hasn't got enough helium to rise, just sort of bobs there on the
Right.
cobblestones.
And then I run towards the fiend and say, I'd like to introduce you to my friends, Rook and Ruin.
Oh, hoo-hoo.
Ooh.
Let's talk.
All right, go at it.
Okay, first
Are these
roll.
magic weapons, perchance?
You know, so this is a funny. Here's a fun Binwin fact. This is the first time I've rolled up Binwin myself.
Oh.
He's always been prepared for me by Mike Failhour, who is super, super, super into rolling up characters.
Right.
And loved showing up the day before our live shows and going, here's what I did for Binwin this time. He's got this, and don't forget to do this. And
Okay.
And I always used to be like, why can't I roll it myself?
Well, you're a big boy, Binwin. You've been adventuring for some time. It stands to reason that these are magic weapons.
Yes.
So
Okay.
have at it.
You'll have to tell
And they
me
have
what their
names. So
damage is. They do have names.
these are battle axes, or one's a hand axe. Is that right?
This is what's embarrassing. All those
One
years
is a
I was
battle-
mad that Mike did it. Now I wish Mike was here to roll my
No,
character.
no worry about it. If you're wielding two weapons, one of them is
Yes.
probably a battle axe, and the other one's probably a hand axe. So
Yes.
roll to hit with both of them, and then we'll see
Okay.
what happens next.
So the first one is 7 plus 8. So that's 15.
Okay, that one misses.
Right. The second attack is, there you go, 17 plus 8. I'm sure that hits.
That hits. So with
Since
the
I-
hand axe, it does a d6 plus your strength mod.
D6 plus strength. So
Plus
that
plus if you have any other wackadoo
10
ability.
points of damage.
Okay. This isn't talking.
But I have extra attack, so I get a third attack.
You sure do, and you can make that with the big weapon, the battle axe.
Right. So.
Evelyn is slightly jealous when she sees him take 3 attacks.
I was gonna say, did you hear that, Anna? 3
I
attacks.
did. I sure did.
Evelyn, look.
That's real
I'm
nice.
attacking a third time. Do you like my hat?
I do. I still like it.
That's why you rolled the natural 1, actually, is because the
Yeah.
hat just sort of tilted over your eyes.
Over my eyes.
I just got a
Over the
14
helmet.
plus 8 modifier, so this is gonna hit. This is for you.
Yeah.
Aw.
All right.
Again, he says, this is not talking.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. We're kind of talking. So
You ever heard of nonverbal communication?
what's the damage on a battle axe? I only have a hand.
1d8 when using it with one hand.
So 15. on
Ow. Okay, then. Yeah, so more blood falls in the cobbles, but when you hit him, Binwin, you can see sort of a shimmer around him, like the human that you're attacking is really just an illusion covering something else. And
Yeah, he shot spores at my face, right?
well, as far as you know, this guy was just standing. He was a spectator standing on a street corner, and Evelyn just rando attacked him.
Oh, I attacked the wrong guy. Well, if Evelyn attacked him, then I don't like the guy.
Right, clearly, yes. And
It's
Evelyn,
a good policy.
right, yeah. So this is all justified in your mind. You're just following exactly Evelyn's path. So
I
after,
had also just gotten him to just talk. So there's that.
this is the same dwarf, by the way, that was sitting in your chair mere minutes ago.
It's like, right as I convince him to not fight and just talk, I see this guy who's sitting in my chair attack. I'm just like, it's like, all right, so when was the last, he's just looking stuff up. He's like, when was the last time we had a guest character die? I feel like it's been a while. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Now you do you. You do you. bud.
Strix, what do you do after almost inhaling these spores?
Well, now I think I'm dying, so I just cover my face up, and I'm just like, well, now I'm under quarantine because I'm definitely going to either give this to everyone or pass away. So,
Alcoria says, if you go to a local temple, they can cast the lesser restoration spell on you. You should be fine.
why are you so reasonable?
Because I'm old and I have no time for unreasonableness.
But that's what I am.
You're gonna not want to be here then.
She
All right, well,
says,
she looks. Go ahead.
you're fine. Soak it up.
All right. And she just takes her robe off her face,
No wizard ever died from a gas spore.
But there's always time.
shut up, Paulson!
All right, so what would
Just saying, anything's possible.
anything else, Strix?
Well, if she says she's fine, she has this whole. I feel like that whole conversation with her would have been her entire turn because she's too worried about being sick. But she says no. I would like to read that. Well, are they fighting? There's this demon, but he stopped fighting. I don't know what's happening over there.
You
Diaz,
don't- yeah.
I'll look to Diaz and be like, what should we do? What do you need me to do?
Do you
Magic?
have a way of getting rid of these?
Oh, the spores. Yes. I'll get on my. I don't think I ever changed my broom back. Did I?
No.
No. Okay, so I have my broom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, give me the bags. I'll take them up
Okay.
and let them go.
Be careful. Diesel.
Well, they've already. I'm already infected. And she'll just take.
Be careful.
All right, so you scoop up all the remaining spores,
Yeah.
and you just like rocket into the air.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Once I get way up there, like far enough to where I can see the
Yep.
harbor,
Yep.
I will daintily undo them.
And just sort of empty them out. Done. All right,
All
they
right.
are free. And they go drifting up into the air, slowly, ever so slowly.
That's someone else's problem, and then I go back down.
Sort of a little wind will catch them and kind of blow them away from your neighborhood. And
If you love it, set it free.
what would Jenks like to do at this
don't
point in
love
time, Holly?
Well, Jenks is gonna, if he spots Wizard Lady and has seen Strix talking to her and seen her be so smart, he'll walk up to her and just kind of like a gasp, like,
Oh, hello, little wizard.
you know I'm a wizard.
That is a powerful wand you wield.
Is it? It is. He's like,
She says,
corrects himself.
may I test it out?
Sure. And he hands it to her.
All right, she holds it up and she points it up at the air, and fireworks just blast out of the tip of it. And she says,
I didn't know it could
you
do
just
that."
have to shake it really hard.
Oh.
And more fireworks go off, and then she hands it back to you, and it's still sort of smoking at the tip.
This
Jenks
is
is like-
so wholesome.
Jenks
Can
is
we
like
hit 50 likes?
is like beyond thrilled, and
You
like
are going to
he'll
be
try-
powerful, possibly even the Black Staff one day, I can tell.
Really?
Truly.
Jenks is like, oh gosh, like he just doesn't even know what to say. No one's ever been so kind to him because Strix just looks at him and throws pies at him.
Yes.
And
He says,
he'll try and-
once you start to master more spells, we will draft you into the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors, and you can help us defend the city against all threats, including moldy coffins and gas spores.
And all of this is just happening during the fight. She's
Yeah.
just like, oh, aren't you the cutest little wizard?
And he'll just be like, well, but I need to prove I can do magic first, and he'll like fling the wand around and try and copy her movements.
All right, nothing, well, in your imagination, you create like your name in the air,
Yeah.
but nobody else sees it.
All right. Oh, does she say anything to him? Like, good
She
job
says,
next time?
yes,
or-
amazing, bravo.
I was like, wow, I'm going to be the Black Staff one day. I can't wait to tell Smelly Lady that. Sure, it'll make her really happy.
All right, and while that business is going on, this guy who's being accosted is going to try to cast, oh God, Paulton's here.
Like he like sees that he might cast, he's just like, go ahead.
And he,
Does he know that it was Paulton that counterspelled it?
yes.
Okay.
So he says, please, we all have to learn to live together. I just work over there. He points to one of the buildings near where you live.
Did you just try to look behind me? Did you just try to? I'm not looking.
And then he just sort of stands there and goes, damn you. And he does not attack. He just sort of stands there kind of cowering to defend himself. And the woman who was standing next to him, the young woman, is aghast and just sort of runs off screaming.
Farewell! Keep better company!
Don't come back.
And that's it for him. He's not going to take any other actions other than pleading with you not to let the dwarf hack him to pieces. And then it is Evelyn's turn.
If this person is an evil fiend, does Evelyn have any inclination to listen to them begging for their life?
Well, Evelyn, you haven't had a tremendous amount of experience with fiends, except, of course, that incident where you witnessed the blood war unfolding before you, and hundreds of demons and devils were tearing each other apart in front of your eyes.
Right. As one does.
But you would know enough from your religious teachings that they're all kinds of fiends. They're devils, they're demons. They behave differently, but they're universally evil. There is no good fiend in your book, nor would you ever expect to meet one. So unless your divine sense is betraying you, which is highly unlikely, this is an evil creature of an extraplanar nature and probably undeserving of mercy.
And it is my job to send them into the light of a new dawn that they may reevaluate their evil nature and be born again. And with that sermon, I bring my flaming sword to bear down on him again.
But I just got. He's like, for the record, I did want to talk.
All right, go ahead and make your attacks.
First one is 17.
That's a hit.
That's going to be D4. Let's see, how many? 4d6 plus. Let's do a little divine smitey action, which I think means we got 3 extra d8.
Yeah. He's like, oh no, not the divine smite.
Oh, I rolled so many ones though. It's only 19.
Okay.
And then she swings again.
He is bloodied now.
And this time she rolls, 10.
That's a miss.
She just keeps getting too excited on her second attack where she's like, I know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah. Also, the helmet just sort of spins around, so like one of the horns is pointing forward. And
she's trying to fight in it and it's falling over her eyes.
Nat, do you want to do anything?
Nat continues to stand next to Dia awaiting orders. So
Okay.
she's holding action unless Dia tells her to
When
do
you look
something.
down into the coffin, you see it's kind of putrid and disgusting, and there's a severed head in there and a crossbow that actually you would recognize as and you would recognize the head as belonging to that dwarf who hung around for a little bit.
She she sees this and her face kind of looks like, like a child would reacting to this, but she also then tries to pretend like, I'm an adventurer, this doesn't shock me. And she just stands there.
Okay. And Diath.
Dieth, after Strix flies off with the spores, that's all spores accounted for, aside from the ones that Binwin ran off with.
Actually, Strix
you dropped
grabbed those off the ground, so all the spores that burst out of the dwarf's head are now gone.
Okay, Dieth will gently pick those up and wait for Strix to return. Looks over at Nat and tells her to, and says through, I assume she can read lips to some degree and single hand language. I'll just say, gather Squidly, gather Jenks. We need you to defend the house. Don't let anyone in. It's not us. I'm counting on you.
Okay.
And then when she scurries off to do that, did Strix take the letter from the coffin, or was that still there?
Good question. Holly, you took the scroll out of the petrified hand?
I don't know if she had a chance
Okay,
to do it.
then we'll say no,
so-
it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. She was going to. She was like, oh, and then was like, no.
Okay. Dieth is going to take that then, because he's real scared.
Okay. Yeah, it slides right out of the petrified hand.
And then waits for Strix to return so he can hand off the next satchel.
You can see that the tube is open on one end, and there is just an old scroll sort of stuffed inside it.
Okay. So, that's what it is. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and then it is Paulton's turn. Paulton, Evelyn has just brought the flaming sword down upon this creature, this man, again, who's trying to defend himself, holding his hands up in front of him as she's hacking him down. What do you do?
She's like, hack, hack, it's an evil fiend, it's okay. Hack, hack, hack.
It's like, so Evil Fiend shows up instead of wanting to know why. Do we know why he showed up?
No. Hack, hack, hack.
Cool. Well,
I'm one of your neighbors. Jeez.
it's like, okay, well, as he's being like hacked away, it's just like, all right, I'm guessing you only have a few seconds to talk, so you should probably just come out with it.
I run a detective agency. It's called the Tiger's Eye. It's right over there.
Do I believe him?
Make an insight check.
Okay, that is not great. Yeah, I probably buy that. That's a 7.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it sounds legit.
It's like, okay. Well, Not that there's anything I can do at this point, but, you know, for what it's worth, I'm sure it's a fantastic business.
Squidly, what do you do? You're
So
still standing
Squidly
by
would-
the coffin, and Nat and Diath, and looking at the gross crap in the coffin. It looks like, so there's the dwarf's head, there's the dwarf's crossbow, which was torn off his arm, then there's a petrified hand and a petrified fragment of somebody's chest.
Squidly sees the crossbow and just gets like starry-eyed. He's like, oh, upgrade! And he wants to try and take it.
All right, so you reach in and you kind of grab it, and sort of stuck in the sucking mold that sort of infests the inside, sort of lodged hard inside this rotted oak coffin. So make a d20 roll to try to rip it out.
Okay.
Squidly, no.
15.
You succeed. So
Yes!
you pull this thing out, you shake some of the mold and crap off it, and now it's a weird device. It's got straps attached to it, because it looks like, well, as you remember, it used to be attached to the stump of a dwarf's arm.
That drawing was adorable.
That was good. So I'm guessing it's probably also like way too big for him, so
Yeah.
he's just kind of like wobbling around with
Right,
it.
and there's not loaded or anything, it's just the crossbow.
And didn't it used to be attached to Noska's arm?
Yeah, that's what the straps on it are for.
Cool. He's just like, all right. Now what?
Just slinging it around.
Yeah, he's just like, well, mine now.
All right.
And now he has it. Great. Why does no one stop this child?
Binwin.
Dia's
Because we
hands are
shouldn't
literally
have
full.
children here.
Binwin, what do you do?
I'm very confused.
Indeed.
Welcome to the show.
Half this party wants me to kill this guy that my girlfriend hates, my new girlfriend hates. The other half of the party doesn't want me to kill him. And then there's a fungus man still that I should fight.
No fungus man.
Okay. I
Just
look
this
at Evelyn
guy
and
standing
I
in front of
say,
you.
should I continue killing this guy?
Paul's like, no.
Evelyn?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I got. First roll, battle axe.
Paul's just like, cool. I'm out.
That's a nat 20.
Oh my. Okay, so roll the dice twice.
The damage dice?
Yeah, roll the damage dice twice.
Right before he swings, Paulton like squats down to the guy. He's just like, for what it's worth, I was rooting for you.
5 and 2. So that's
Just like pats him on the head.
He says, if you murder all your neighbors, you're not going to last long.
Sorry, I apologize. The 8. So 2 and 4, so same thing. Okay, 6. 6 plus 4.
Okay,
10.
and you added your strength bonus?
Yes, that's the plus 4.
Wait, so...
No. Yeah. It was 2 and a 4. That's 6 plus 4 is 10.
Okay, thank you.
I can do that.
And your second attack?
Yes. That's a natural 1. All right.
Okay, third attack.
Fates are with me. The total for that one is 16.
Hit.
Okay. And that is another 10 points.
All right, you chop his head off. And as his body, as his head separates from its shoulders, there's this weird effect that happens. The head flies off, and it no longer looks human. It looks like a tiger's head.
See, I told you.
Cool.
And it sort of flops down on the ground, and by the time it hits the ground, the body slumps, and you see that the spell that made it look human is gone, and instead it looks like a robed man's body, except it's got tiger claws that bend backward the wrong way, like the hands are screwed on backwards.
Ooh.
And
Paul's just like, yeah, this won't come back to haunt us.
the
That's
severed head says, look, the tiger's severed head looks up at you, Binwin. This will not be forgotten. I will return for you.
Yeah, that sucks
my
for
name is
Bidwin.
Bidwin Bronze
Yeah.
Bottom. I'm at 20532.
like Paul walks up, he's just like, for him, right? Won't be forgotten for him. I just want to clarify. Just,
And That's it, and then it expires, and then almost immediately the head and the body begin to transform into black ichor.
Oh.
Just sort
I'm
of begin
gonna
to
scoop some
melt
of that up.
away.
Evelyn's like, see, I told you. Evil
Oh.
fiend.
Oh, that's never gonna come out.
Strix is on her way to just like scrape away.
The city watch arrives in force, and a griffin riding member of the guard lands in a clear part of Troll Skull Alley. What do you each do as the city watch moves in? And I'll start with...
I don't know. I agree with this guy in the chat. No body, no crime.
Well, you have a lot of witnesses, but...
Well, prove it.
we'll start with Strix.
All right, so the guards start to show up.
Yeah.
I will just go and run and I have a better idea. I'm gonna cast a new spell that I learned. I am going to cast Word of Recall.
Okay.
And everyone is going to end up back in the house. Immediately.
Excuse
We
me?
went outside.
So when you cast the spell,
Just
you
It's
and up to
immediate.
5 willing creatures, so 5,
Yeah.
within 5 feet of you. So you can either be near Diath, Nat, and Squidly, and Jenks, or basically Diath and the kids, or you can be with Paulton, Binwin, and Evelyn when you cast
All
the
right.
spell.
Definitely
Okay,
Diath
we
and the
understand.
definitely Diath and the kids, because I know that Evelyn is going to be able to explain her way out of whatever is happening, and that's clearly a demon.
Diath, are you
So-
willing to be transported back away by this spell?
I think just by nature of it, yes, because he doesn't know what's going on.
Okay. He's trusting.
like,
He's
just-
trusting
yeah.
Strix.
Yeah,
to do
she's
her
casting, and Diaz is like, wait, what?
All right.
Yeah.
Are any of the children unwilling to be magically transported?
No, Nat goes where Diaz goes, so Nat totally just like
All right.
hangs on to Diaz.
Jenks would
Jenks-
obviously love to be magically transported.
Jenks loves magic.
Squidly.
Don't you fuck us, Squidly.
You see your friends sort of magically begin to sparkle away.
I guess if they do it, then he'll be like, oh, okay,
All right.
sure.
Then you go as well. All the kids in Diath are gone, leaving the coffin unattended. What does Diath do after he is transported back into the house? I assume Strix, your safe room?
Yeah, it's the room that the kids usually stay in, but it's actually
it's the
just
kids'
got a
bedroom,
bunch
but
of...
it's actually Strix's panic room.
Yeah, yes.
What do you do when you're in this room? There's a window and a balcony off this room, and a door leading out into the hall, and it's got all of Strix's crap and the kids' cots in it.
And Strix actually, when they get there, just yells, "It worked!"
Yes, it did.
Oh, good. We're all safe.
Okay. Evelyn, what do you do when the guard moves in?
I'm so glad you're here, but don't worry, I've neutralized the threat. There was an evil fiend disguised as one of our neighbors and a local business owner, but I have protected all the people here, and now you see this black ichor that is spilled everywhere. I very much apologize about that.
Paulton.
I completely back what she just said.
Binwin.
I point to the ichor and I say, that was a demon. You're welcome. And then I hand him my card, which reads, your city has just been saved by Binwin Bronzebottom.
And that's where we'll stop.
Oh no!
Okay, so first order of business before we talk about what's going on outside of the game, promote our usual stuff. I want to thank Scott for joining us.
Yeah.
Scott,
You
would you care to return next week?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yes,
Okay.
please.
That way we can give some continuance or closure to the Binwin, Evelyn, Paulton love triangle.
Next weekend? Or next
Eve-
next
Bin?
a week from today, Tuesday.
Great. Perfect.
Evelyn?
Right.
Been Wivelinian.
Yes.
Evilton.
All
Evil
right.
win.
Thanks, I hate it.
Absolutely. Okay, and does anybody have any announcements? We'll start with Scott. Anything you want to promote or tell us about in your...
I'm going to be at a comic book shop in Victoria, Canada, Victoria, British Columbia, on Saturday. I don't know. I'll go to my website for details.
There you
go
go.
to pvponline.com for details. And
pvponline.com.
Yes.
Also check out Benwin's Minions.
Yeah, at tabletitans.com. We have a brand new book you should buy, all about Binwin.
There we go.
Spend your money.
Tavis Maiden and Corey Cassoni, they've been doing every Friday a comic about Binwin and his team that he started after he left AC Inc. And it's amazing. Those guys are doing an amazing job. It's cool to have a D&D character that someone else is just drawing amazing adventures for you, and then there gets to be a book. It's just pretty cool. So check it out for sure. I quit Twitter, so you can't find me on Twitter.
Well, you still have an account, but it's not monitored, right?
Oh,
PvP
yeah. Well,
Online is
Corey
still an
posts.
account. Yeah.
My people post from it.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I don't think I'm supposed to say yet why, but I'm not at home. I'm hanging out at Penny Arcade filming some stuff, so stay tuned for stuff that I'm filming with Penny Arcade, and I will see you on the normal shows like Trapped in the Birdcage on Thursday and Twitch Weekly on Friday.
Yay. And we'll be at PAX coming up. That's
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Fun
Right.
PAX.
There's a new announcement with that too, actually. We're doing lots of things. We haven't announced them all. The panel is Friday at 7, which you already know. It's going to be live streamed and there. And then also we are going to have an autograph session. So if you want to come talk to us and have us write our name on stuff, or take pictures or whatever you want to do, or make fun of us, I don't know. We'll be in the Westin at 4. I don't know. It's on the website if you look for it.
Yay.
Is that the same day?
On Friday.
On
Yeah,
Friday.
before the panel.
Okay.
Yay. I can't think of anything else. Trapped in the Birdcage. Yes, that's it. Dude, hooray.
I've got my usual. I've got my headlining tour coming up starting this Friday, actually, in Nashville. And then we're going to Detroit, Chicago, Burnsville, Denver, Seattle, and Portland. And then we just announced that we're also going to the East Coast in October. So mid-October, we're hitting Jersey, Boston, Philly, DC, Atlanta, and Orlando. So tickets are at natewantsthebattle.com if you want to come out to a concert. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
I got nothing.
All right, then we'll call it.
Except for spamming that link to the
Spam
Dice
the
Camera Action subreddit where you can join in all the different discussions, see all the fan art, etc. We have over 5,000 members now.
Yes,
Don't
we do.
you want to
Nice.
be cool too?
This won't do it for you.
Well, too bad. Here's our Reddit.
All right, then that's a wrap for today. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week for more wacky Waffle Crew hijinks and the august presence of one Binwin Bronbottom. Okay, now I'm doing it.
It's hard. It's harder than you think.
Binwin Bronze Bottom. And so until then, everybody take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.